Hello, everybody, and thank you for stopping by here at the Wine with Jimmy channel. Delighted to have you on board. So we are here on Series 6, looking at the wine regions of South Africa, the Breede River Valley region and the Klein Karoo region in this section, and it's split into 4 videos. So you'll see them all up there. The first 3 parts are the Breede River Valley, and then we'll go on to the Klein Karoo on part 4. Now, this video is available as free content in the ether, but parts 2, 3, and 4 are only available on my e-learning portal. That's winewithjimmy.com. It's a really important resource center with lots of exclusive video content, written questions, flashcards, maps, all the things to help you understand the topic, to give you good comprehension and to give you good confidence as you go into your examinations. If you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a concern, please do get in touch by commenting on this video below. I'd love to hear if you've been to South Africa, if you've been to this part, specifically the Breede River. It's always nice to hear about the area. And if you like the wines or certain wineries, get in touch. Okay, so let's rock and roll, looking at the Breede River Valley, looking at the Breedekloof. So you'll see on this map, this is most of the Western Cape. Now, if we take this blue area, which is the Breedekloof, and then this kind of slightly mauvey color place, which is Worcester, and then this slightly reddy gray Robertson, and also the Swellendam as well. This whole area is, in fact, the Breede River. It runs from up here, and it comes all the way down towards the Indian Ocean, and that's its chart. So you would call this the whole Breede River Valley area. Normally, when people talk about the Breede River Valley, it's Breedekloof, Worcester, Robertson, but you know the river goes through the Swellendam as well in this part. So what should we talk first of all? Well, this is a generally warm and dry region producing most of the wine of South Africa at relatively high yields. And at this point, we're talking about all of what I just mentioned, the Breedekloof, the Worcester area, the Robertson and the Swellendam zone as well. Now, in addition for grapes for wine, it produces a very large volume of grapes destined for South Africa's distillation industry. So, of course, the South African brandies being exceptionally important and of high quality. Irrigation will be used from the Breede River and more towards its source that you are found, like the Breedekloof, the higher quality it tends to be. And that is a real key resource. Now, alongside large volume producers, there are also some wonderful high quality estates which are emerging at a much greater rate in the last sort of 10 or 15 years. The Breedekloof area that we're focusing on for this presentation represents 14% of all hectares planted in South Africa. So that's a lot. It's about 16.5% of all white wine grape hectarage and about 11% of all red wine grape hectarage. So real significant numbers in this area. Now we're looking at a different map here. This has in fact got the famous 3 of the Breede River Valley. So Robertson, Worcester, the green area on this one, and then the yellow areas, the Breedekloof that we are looking at. So the Breedekloof is a district within the Breede River Valley region. And within Breedekloof, we have 2 wards, remember smaller, and can be found normally within a district. We have them here mentioned on this on the right-hand side. So Slanghoek, or Snake's Corner, and then Gardini as well. So Slanghoek is up in this area, just about where the Breedekloof on this map is mentioned. And then Gardini is in this area, so sitting just to the southwest of Worcester. So just right there. So they are 2 wards. Now, Slanghoek, which I mentioned, Snake Corner, is a very tiny wine ward in the Western Cape. It actually only has 1 winery that I remember, which is Slanghoek Cellar. At the heart of the Breedekloof area is the village of Rawsonville. That's surrounded by vineyards. You have about 22 wineries in a 30-kilometer radius. And many of these farms are 4th to 8th generation family owned. And the area is known for really a warm hospitality. It's a really welcome zone around Rawsonville. It's a wonderful place to go and visit. So what about the climate of this area? So Breedekloof, and specifically the wards of Gardini and Slanghoek, lie within the rain belt caused by the first range of north-south lying mountains next to the southwestern coast. And this is where the rain is still sufficient enough for vineyards to flourish without irrigation. The rainfall is getting towards 800 millimeters per year. So that's what negates the irrigation. So successful viticulture, and that's a marked difference to the districts that lie to downstream, Worcester and Robertson, for example. The summers are warm. The mean February temperature is in the mid-21s for this area. Now, another unusual thing here is that we have winter and spring snows, which are fairly frequent. You'll often see snow-capped mountains here, specifically the Breedekloof and the Bosserveld ranges. And this temperature, this colder temperature, delays bud burst in this area, which means it typically avoids frosts, which can be an issue. But if there aren't much of the winter or spring snows, then you'll find that frost is an issue in the Breedekloof zone. So that's something to think about. Also here, in summer, we have the prevailing southeasterly wind that's funneled through this gorgeous valley that you see here, and it cools the vines in the late afternoon, reducing the possibility of disease pressure and limiting the amount of spraying that is needed to combat against, of course, disease pressure. Geology in this area. So the Breedekloof is characterized mainly by vineyards which flourish on a flat landscape of alluvial valley soils, and that tends to have fairly decent, adequate drainage. And it rests, the reason why that is, it rests on a bed of stones, which therefore would filter quite easily. So maybe the topsoil is quite alluvial, but then you have riverbed stones, which are very good at drainage. In the two wards of Gardini and Slanghoek, the soils and the boulder beds of many alluvial material ranges here are from bleached sand to dark organic rich sand, typically of the Bosserveld shale group. So that is one that has much lower nutrient capability, and you tend to get much better concentration that comes from vines grown in those areas. What are we looking at then for our grapes? So the varied soil types in this area allow Chenin, Colombard, and Chardonnay to be planted, as well as Pinotage, Syrah, and Cabernet Sauvignon. You'll see that Chenin is the leading variety. There are brilliant producers such as Dash Bosch. There is the Olifantsberg family estates, Dietlefs as well. And all of their Chenins are of very decent quality, so that accounts for the big lion's share. Colombard, now remember, this is a part of the wider Breede River Valley area, known for big amounts of volume and often for distillation. So you're going to see Chenin and Colombard being very large numbers within that. But there you are, Sauvignon Blanc even found here in the slightly cooler parts, Pinotage and Chardonnay, and then a whole host of others, which include quite a lot of kind of Mediterranean stars, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre, Sanso as well found in this area. Okay, so that is the styles. Do look out for Olifantsberg, like I mentioned, Dash Bosch, Dietlefs, and also the Breedekloof cellar as well. Well worth seeking out. Please do join me for the next part, which is looking at the Worcester part of the Breede River Valley region. Now, part 2, that part plus 3 and 4 will only be available on my e-learning portal. That's over at winewithjimmy.com. So if you want to continue with this series, you'll need to go and subscribe. If you do have any comments, questions, or concerns, pop them in the comments section below. Otherwise, if you find yourself in the United Kingdom, then please come and say hi at one of my establishments for a class, for a glass, maybe for a bottle. I've been Jimmy Smith. Ciao for now.